Hello there, doctors. Ever wonder how to do a webinar and how to make money from a webinar? In today's episode, Mike and I are going to break down how to make money on a webinar and how to structure it. And honestly, all you need is a Wi Fi, your phone, or a webcam, and your laptop. It is a low entry thing you can do that can really have a big payoff.
Yeah, there's lots of ways that you can do webinars. I remember back in the day before they even had Zoom and even, Microsoft Teams, they even had, audio only. We call them teleseminars. And now with webinars, and since COVID has been in play, because COVID, people are used to getting on webinars, on Zoom calls, and it's a way for getting the audience to know more about you, like you, and trust you. I'm sure you've been on webinars. You may have been paid for webinars, but you can use this as a way of monetization. And we're going to give you 6 ways physicians can make money with webinars. First, number one is creating a paid webinar where you charge for attendance. It can be, let's say, if you're in practice and you want us to cover specific health topics, whether it be hormones or weight loss or regenerative medicine. And if you find a topic that the public is willing to pay for, you can charge $17, $27, $97, $297, or even more. You can do a deep dive. Maybe you do a series of webinars. So I've done like 6 webinars that focused on a specific, more in-depth topics that I did every Wednesday evening. And you can charge that where now you can charge 4 figures for that. There's ways that you can do physician to physician, CME if you're going to do that way and charge for live webinars, or also allow them to get access to the recordings. As you know, we're visiting doctors and it can meet everyone. And again, people still have to pay a premium price for paid education through webinars. And again, you've gotten a lot of experience doing that through with everything that you do. Want to share that?
Yeah, I mean, so you and I as well, but I've been coached by the best person that does webinar, that's Russell Brunson, using his perfect webinar format. But before we even talk about how you can make money with webinar, let's you need to get eyeballs on your webinar. You can do all your webinar, but people gotta know who you are and get eyeballs on it. That's why you have to be on social media so people know what you do, who you are, and also build an email list. You got to have an email list to let people know you are running a webinar. And so, want to preface it that you need to have eyeballs. You can either build it organically, which is to grow it organically, or you can do it by doing ads, like paid ads, like Facebook ad or Google ad, so they can see like what's called the landing page, a page that has information about your webinar. And in fact, in our software, Dr. Boss, we have a webinar template that is actually embedded in there that we can give to you. That I have paid $30,000 for this template and the structure and the funnel for the webinar in the past. But a webinar is really not so much to teach, it's really to indoctrinate and have the attendee change the belief about something that they are interested in, and that you present a big domino that they need to change their belief on, like a false belief. And then once you do that, then you can introduce the offer of the webinar. So Mike was saying that you can charge for the webinar, and then the emails that you get from the registration from the free webinar is called a lead or an email. An email is a lead because you can, once you have their email, you can send them further emails about what you do and to market your product. So that's one way, or you can charge like Mike said, but just so that you guys know, it's a webinar. This is my number one mistake that I did when I first did my webinar. I throw everything I had and teach in the webinar. But believe it or not, if you teach people too much, they check out and then they're not interested in what you're offering at the end. So doing a webinar, it's learned. You can definitely learn this, and you definitely learn how to sprinkle your offer because you're going to do a webinar. You want to make sure you can make money from it. And usually you do that. So just to kind of preface the structure of the webinar is that the first 30 minutes is to talk about really like who you are, why should they listen to you, and agenda, and give them that one big promise, that domino that they have to accept it before they even say yes to your offer. It's like for me, if I do webinar for ED, the thing that they have to accept before my offer is that they have to believe that actually taking ED medication will make their ED worse. I start out with a hook like that. Like, do you know that your ED medication can make your ED worse? Stay in this webinar, I'm going to show you why. And then from there, I give them 3 secrets. The secrets are really the pillars of your webinar. Is that the first secret is that you have to have them believe that the method or your system is what's gonna get them to the promised land or the transformation. And the secret number 2 is they have to believe that they can do it. And then number 3, they have to believe that outside factors won't with them, like their friends, their family, or work, or whatever they think is outside, not internal. And so to do that, you share stories that is relatable to those, and then you share your own story as to why you're doing this as well. So the big promise, the credibility, the first 30 minutes, the next 30 minutes is the 3 secrets that I mentioned, which we call the vehicle, internal, external limitation. And the next 30 minutes is the offer. The offer is the stack that you are bundling it or packaging it to help them to get the transformation or the result. So for me, it's like, well, I already said that ED medication will make their ED worse. Well, my offer, the multimodality system, is going to get them to the promised land, which is for sexual restoration again. So that's called offer stack and then call to action as well. So that's the structure. And if you structure it like that, you're going to be able to overcome people internal belief, external belief, as well as to present your offer as a no-brainer solution at this point. So you want to talk about the third way of monetization?
Well, actually, I'm gonna lead into that because you had mentioned about building your social media presence, creating an email list. One of the best ways of actually creating a lead magnet is to use a webinar. Create a free value-based webinar for though they can know more about you. And so in my own practice, we have used it, let's say, for my own patients, where I'm going to be introducing something new, like maybe some new treatment or some new procedure on there. So you can create a webinar just on that. Others that I found really good webinars, especially, is focusing on a topic that is, they're already having problems. They're looking for solutions in that particular industry. So I've seen that along with the group of weight loss physicians, we've had a lot of changes with the GLP-1s and access to it. So if you have as a solution to that, you can create a webinar based upon what are the problems I currently have. I've seen it where they've had for physicians involved in real estate. There's been some changes in administration where there are some pros and cons on getting into real estate. You can have a webinar focused on specifically on that. So if you can identify that a hot topic, that's a great way of creating a list based upon the registrations, people who attend it. Now you've got emails. Now you can follow up with different offers for all of your different programs that you're doing, which does lead into the third way that you can monetize your webinar, is not necessarily getting a paid webinar, but selling related courses and guides and workshop experiences after the webinar. That's a great way of doing it too. So you introduce a webinar and you can only cover so much in the next 30, 60 minutes. But if you want to go deep into this, if you want to work with me, I offer this coaching program, I offer this course, I offer these guides, I offer this 2-day workshop on my clinic, whatever that you want to do, that's where you're going to sell. Think of it as we've talked about books, the importance of books. You're not necessarily going to make money on that $9.95 book, ebook, or the $19.95 book, but you might be making money by sending them to courses and other paid products that you have in there. And then you can use that webinar. That's still valuable too, because you can use that recording. And I've used it where I've had a recording and I put it into a series of evergreen products that you could later then sell as a product. So you may have offered it for free, but now you bundle it up. Let's say you're going to have the transcription of it. You're going to have the recorded videos. They have access to it forever. That is now a paid product on there as well. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, like Mike said, the email list is your gold mine. Think of it, your email list is your bank account. The more emails you have, the more options you can have with that, but it also can be an asset as well. So you can just do a webinar that could be free and then a list. And also another fourth way is to affiliate partnership. I do a lot of affiliate partnership, not through my webinar, but through emails and through my YouTube channel. So once you do the webinar, you can then send them emails about supplements that you have affiliate a link for. Affiliate mean that let's they buy the supplement, like they buy something like this. I have this offer on ClickBank. Any affiliate that promotes this, they get 40% of the retail price. That's called affiliate. I mean, you get a commission. Anything that you promote, that's lab, supplement, medical equipment, or even software, it's very lucrative as well. And I think that as physician, doing webinar is you're really easy for you to do because you're comfortable in teaching. Oftentimes we make the mistake of over teaching, so don't over teach. Just kind of enough to have people have a flavor of what's like. Like give the appetizer, but don't give the meal. Do not give the buffet, and then invite them to the next help them with that transformation. And that could even be leading to. We talked in the past about doing tiny challenge or doing one-to-one coaching. So that can lead into group coaching. So you can do your webinar and then you can create an offer that will lead into group coaching or can lead into one-on-one coaching or leading even into digital course. And also think that the webinar itself is to be able to make money on the back end, but also on the front end, it will also fill up your email list. I've ran webinars where we have up to 500 emails conversion, new emails. But just know that the numbers for webinar show up for 20%. It's actually pretty good. 20% show up of 500 people. It's actually really good. And then the conversion is actually, if you're doing 5%, you're actually doing pretty good of the people that show up. So people register doesn't mean that they show up. And if they do show up, 5%, 10% conversion is actually excellent. I used to think, oh, I'm gonna have a webinar. Everybody that registered, everybody's gonna show up. No, we all lead busy life and we have to know that a 20% show up is pretty good. So I wanted to kind of throw some metrics there so you can kind of evaluate if you're thinking about doing a webinar and how to do that. And there's a structure to it, telling stories as well. So we mentioned about high ticket coaching. And then the last thing is sponsorship. You can partner with brands to sponsor your webinar. Let's say you're doing a webinar, like for me, for ED, then a brand has like a medical device that will help with ED may be able to sponsor it. And then I kind of showcase their product in the webinar and how as a tool to be able to get the transformation. So there are multiple ways to structure a webinar that you can make money. But if anything, is really to get your name out there and get your brand out there. More so than ever, I am more convinced that as doctors, you're not on social media, you're going to become irrelevant in the future with AI being so accessible now and with low entry, such as a webinar. But in order for you to make that money from a webinar, you need to have people be able to see what you're doing. Again, going back to social media, one of Mike and I passion is to be able to have Dr. Belief overcome the internal belief that they don't need to be on social media. Well, that may be 20 years ago, but not at this point in 2025 going forward. You really need to be on social media because that's how patient and find about you online. I can't tell you how many times patients just Google and then my name comes up. They look at my Google, my business profile, and look at my website. They determine they need to come and see me. So if you're not on social media, then you're not sometimes cannot be found. You can have a website, doesn't mean that the Google will rank your website either. And that leads us to our next episode that we'll talk about blog. Is there anything else you want to add, Mike?
No, I mean, you've probably seen a pattern on it, whether you could change it with webinars, with podcasts, and lots of ways that you can monetize it. And hopefully get that kind of whet your appetite about webinars. And if you want to find out more information on specifics of webinars, I highly encourage you to join our school group. Leave a link on here. We're looking for physicians who are savvy and want to take their control of their physician career and life, Doctors Online Success is where it's at. We're going to go in. We're going to talk about the nitty gritty. You'll find nitty gritty on like, should you use Zoom? Should you use Google Meet? What's the best way to structure it? If you want to get all those specific details, I highly encourage you to join our school group where we share some really cool stuff on what's been working us. And been doing this, nearly 10 years? And I've been doing this 20 plus years on there. We may know a few things about how to make money on webinars there. But yeah, that's all I got to say.
All right. And remember, check it out at doctorsonlinesuccess.com is where the link to join the school group. It's free for now, but we're probably gonna make it a paid community very soon. So get on it now because we're gonna be in there and interacting with you guys as well. Again, even in there and in our Dr. Boss software, we will give you access to a webinar funnel, a webinar automation email for you to start doing a webinar right away with the proper software. So having said that, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And just know you are just not a doctor. You are a Dr. Boss. Take care.
See you next time.